ESPN has released their preseason post-spring game college football rankings. We'll see how the Big Ten held up. Urban Meyer wants coaches who lie to the NCAA to be banned for life from college football. And what does the suspension of Sherrone Moore mean for Michigan football? All of that is coming up next on the Team Rivalry College Football Update. Good evening. Welcome to this brand new college football show on Team Rivalry. It's our college football update where we're going to bring you the latest news and give you our opinion on it. You've heard the news, but you haven't heard it from us, and that's why you're here. So let's take a look and see what's going on in the world of college football. Our first story comes from ESPN. It's the post-spring game preseason top 25 college football rankings. The Big Ten looks a lot like it did in the final rankings from last season. This season, though, you've got Penn State at number 1. Everybody's thinking that Penn State is that national championship contender. We'll see what happens unless James Franklin's himself out of that top 1 position. Number 5, you've got Ohio State. Number 8, Oregon. 11, Illinois. 17, Indiana. That Indiana just had that stellar season last year. I know a lot of people say that they just had that weak schedule, and that's why they were able to do what they did, but I think Kurt Cignetti is really doing some amazing things over there. At any rate, Michigan comes in at number 20. Is that a good ranking or not? Should Michigan even be in the top 25 is probably the question. I can't really answer that. What I'm going off of is Michigan's last 3 games last year were absolutely outstanding and really made the entire season. You have that solid defense they had last year, and this year it appears to have reloaded with Martindale just rebuilding that defense and making it into a powerhouse that took down Ohio State and Alabama last year. The question is, will Bryce Underwood or whoever is QB1, will that highly touted but untested offense be able to carry Michigan into higher rankings and into the playoffs? That remains to be seen. There's a lot of excitement around Bryce Underwood. There's a lot of excitement about this reloaded defense. We'll just have to wait and see. But what do you think? Should Michigan be at number 20 or are they ranked too high? Should they be ranked lower? Let me know what you think. Our second story comes from an interview on the Triple Option podcast with Urban Meyer. Now, former Ohio State coach Urban Meyer is making waves, they're saying, with his controversial takes on the NCAA violations that are over at Michigan. Speaking on the Triple Option podcast, Meyer said that any coach who lies to the NCAA should immediately receive a permanent lifetime ban from coaching college football. I don't necessarily disagree with him. I think when you start lying to the people who are supposed to be governing the system, you run into this problem of how can people really trust you? I don't like the idea of a one strike and you're out. I think that creates an impossible situation, especially if there's a problem with the governing body. And, why would you ever have a problem with the governing body, right? Governments are never corrupt. That never happens. But what is curious about the situation then is Urban Meyer himself, and Urban Meyer himself lied to the NCAA. But then again, he's not coaching anymore, is he? So this could be something. He's grown. He's maybe learned from his own mistakes, and now he wants to make sure that justice is done across the board. We'll see what happens there. This is where it starts to dig into. With Sherrone Moore, did he lie to the NCAA? How much did he lie? Was it multiple lies? And should he be banned from college football? Actually, that rule doesn't actually exist. So the most that the NCAA would do anyway is suspend him. But I'm curious as to what you guys think. Is lying to the NCAA grounds for complete dismissal from college football? Should that be a rule that they should implement, or is that just going too far? Let me know in the comments what you think. Our top story for tonight, our last story, going back to Sherrone Moore and the investigation into Michigan. Michigan has announced a self-imposed 2-game suspension for head coach Sherrone Moore for the 2025 season. Moore will miss Week 3 against Central Michigan and Week 4 against the Big Ten opener at Nebraska. The suspension stems from the deletion of 52 texts with former staffer Connor Stalions during the sign-stealing investigation. The texts were later recovered and provided to the investigators at the NCAA, My understanding is that the texts amounted to nothing. There was nothing in there to implicate Sherrone Moore in anything, and they were essentially a nothing burger. The problem is that he deleted them in the first place, and then, I don't know, he must not have told the NCAA that he had them, and that's why they ended up having to get him to recover them. So there's the problem. There's your lying that Urban Meyer was talking about. And that's really the issue with the NCAA. It's not that Sherrone Moore himself cheated in any way. It's that he lied to the NCAA. And I mean, one of the dumbest things you can do is lie when you don't have to. So we'll see what comes of that. Right now, we've got the self-imposed suspension. The self-imposed suspension carries with it a rather... It's kind of interesting because the NCAA is not bound to that suspension. They could look at that suspension as, okay, you did enough. They could also look at that suspension as kind of a slap in the face, like, who do you think you are imposing the suspension when we're going to impose the penalty? So they might either take the suspension as enough, or they might put more of a suspension on him. I actually wondered if Sherrone Moore might get a 1-year show cause, because, I mean, he's essentially at the same, or he was at the same level as Jesse Minter, who got a 1-year show cause, but then Jesse Minter isn't in college football anymore, so it doesn't matter. Would they impose the same penalty on Sherrone Moore? I don't know. And we don't know because it hasn't happened yet. If it was a show cause, I know some people have said that if it was a show cause, it essentially means that he wouldn't be able to coach. I don't know that that's true. I think there's the possibility that with a show cause, Michigan can come back and say he's more under probation. So he can still coach, but it's a probation, and then it's basically one strike and you're out. We'll see what comes of that. The other thing is people have been saying that they picked the easy part in their schedule, and I think that's a smack to Nebraska. We're talking about a year 3 Matt Rule, Nebraska, and Matt Rule has been a champion everywhere he's gone. After 2 or 3 seasons, he has turned teams around to make them into powerhouses, and this could be Nebraska's year. Regardless of that, Nebraska has never, ever been a pushover team, so that is going to be a risky game for Sherrone Moore to not be at. It depends on now, is he going to be able to coach up his assistant coach the way Harbaugh coached him up when Harbaugh was suspended and Sherrone Moore coached against the Ohio State Buckeyes and won, I might add. But we'll see what happens there. This is not the end of the story. We are waiting to see what else comes of this. I believe the final penalties will be announced in early June. That's the rumor I've been hearing, but that's just a rumor, so we'll see what happens. At any rate, those are the concerns I have. I'm not sure I'm not sure that this suspension is going to hold. I'm not sure that the NCAA is going to abide by it. They're certainly not bound to it, and I don't know what they're going to do instead. There's a rumor out there that Ward Manuel might actually be looking to get rid of Sherrone Moore. I really doubt that's true. There's no reason to think that. The whole story has been blown up by rivals and by the press because everybody loves to hate on Michigan. I'm not saying Michigan is innocent. They obviously broke some rules. It's just, were the rules they broke actually impacting on the game, or was it just because they lied to the NCAA? That's not good either, but if it doesn't affect the game, it's not as big a deal. I don't know. I could be completely wrong on that. You guys can let me know in the comments. What do you think is going to happen to Sherrone Moore? Will the 2-game suspension hold, or will they bring more down on him? Will they bring more down on Moore? That's kind of funny. And that'll do it for this edition of our brand new show, the College Football Update at Team Rivalry. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. If you don't, well, I appreciate you hanging out with me anyway.